Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Live Strong podcast. We have changed locations yet again. We are back up in the office. I'm really in the new year. I need to put it on my New Year's resolution list that I need to get a better setup for this podcast. I've said it. I'm pretty sure we said it this time last year because, guys, I've been podcasting for over a year now and I still don't have a good setup. In our house, it's a 3-bedroom, and one of our bedrooms is this study that I'm in right now, and the other bedroom is like my dressing room. Let's say it had like all my makeup, jewelry, clothes. It has everything in it. So I'm thinking I need to like change the configuration of those two rooms because this study is a bit chaotic. Like, you can't see the chaos right now because I've tried to make it as little chaotic as possible in this frame. But, like, my hair is giving chaotic, honestly. Far, it's insane. But anyway, and I even just put some dry shampoo in it, but it's just too far gone at the moment. Like, I'm giving hot mess. But I need to get it set up so that it just looks a little bit better. Like, it's not that hard to make it look a bit nicer, but I just need to put in a bit of effort. And I think that's going to involve me in my dressing room figuring out a little situation. So, new year, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to have a new camera next year. It's on the pre-orders. So, that will be nicer because I do like doing these, but they are so dodgy. Like, not dodgy, but I guess I don't put that much time and effort into them, which not much time and effort needs to go into them because they're meant to be a relaxed chit chat anyway. But I think if they were a little bit more professional looking, I'd be a bit more proud to share it a bit more. So, anyway, team, we're back for another podcast. We're not meant to be talking about that. I just wanted to introduce you to the office. Hello, how are we going? Today, we're going to be talking about some more health and fitness topics because, that's what this podcast is about. We're going to be cracking on some myths in the fitness industry. And obviously, we're going to start with a bit of a chit chat of the highs and lows of the week. Let's start with my high of the week. Every time I sit down to do these, I literally just cannot remember what's happened in my week, which is probably showing that I need to go to like memory loss school or something. But my high would have to be my Friendsmas that I had with my friends last weekend. We did bottomless brunch at the Exchange. So if you're from Newcastle, obviously the Exchange can be a bit, especially like late at night. But during their bottomless brunch is probably the best bottomless brunch in Newcastle. I've gone to maybe like 4 different places, I'm going to say, for bottomless brunch, maybe 5. And this one is the best one that I've had in Newcastle. So you get heaps of food. They're not stingy on the drinks because sometimes bottomless brunches can be. So big vibe, the bottomless brunch, but more of a vibe was having all of our friend group there. We've obviously done it early in November, like our Friendsmas, so Friends Christmas catch up. But we locked it in early. We all made it a priority to get there. And we didn't do presents or anything, which our friend group doesn't normally do that. But I felt like we all, I think it was like $120 each to do the bottomless brunch. But like we all prioritized it. We all had a good day. Like it was just really fun. And we don't really get that often that all of our friend group is together. Like it just doesn't really happen that much. So it was actually just really nice. Had such a good afternoon. We partied into the night. Had a good few amount of drinks, but nothing silly. So on Sunday, I still felt like not too bad because, guys, in my old wise age of 27, am I 27? Yeah, of 27. I'm just not that good of a drinker. Like, I get the worst anxiety about drinking and being hungover. And, like, my weekends, again, here comes me whinging again on this podcast, but, like, my weekends are, I reckon, 50% work, 50% pleasure. So I do a lot of work on the weekends. And even if I am busy, I like, especially Saturday morning, I work a few hours physically in the gym, and then I may be able to do no other work that day. But on Sunday, every week, I have a to-do list on a Sunday to be done, to be action to start the next week, whether it's like staff things or like rostering things or whatever it is, or could be programming, whatever, could be anything. But like, yeah, 50% of my weekend is generally work, which is something that I am going to try get better at next year, because it's like, it's not really possible for the long term. And I'm realizing as I'm getting older, and like one day I'm going to have a child. I know, crazy, because I live with a child seems like the most insane thing to think about. But like, I'm like, realistically, my time for a child right now is like 10 minutes a day. So like, we need to change something so that I have more time, you know? So yeah, moral of my long story here is anxiety, because I know I have shit to do on Sunday. Like, I can't just bed rot. And yes, like I will still watch Netflix and shit and lay on the lounge, but I've also got to do shit. If not, there's no other option. So I don't drink that much. But when I do drink, I like to have a good time. I like to have a boogie, and it was a fun weekend. So that was my high. My low for the week, I actually don't know if I had a low last week. It was a pretty positive week. I know I had a whinge about my back. I'm pretty sure I did on the podcast. My back flared up. I was sad about it and emotional, but it's actually feeling pretty good. Still not 100%. I still don't think I'm going to be able to do my 110 kilo squat as I hoped. I squatted 60 kilos this week, majority pain-free, but not 100%. And I think I've just got a bit of a fear at the moment, and I don't want to hurt myself before I go away. So I'm like, is it worth pushing? Probably not. So anyway, to be determined. But nah, I can't think of a low for this week, so we might just leave her there. Leave her there. Recommendation for the week is a bit random. I was thinking about this before, and it's just like a bit of a general consensus to the people out there to like look into your finances. I know, so random. Weirdly, something that I am very intrigued in, and I guess I do a lot of planning with, is our finances in our house. Like, from a young age, learning to run a business, I had to be very smart with my money. Well, I didn't have to be, but I had to. If I wanted to have a successful business, I needed to be. And I just, it's not that I'm a financial guru or anything, because I really know nothing, and I always do everything the Olivia way, like probably not the best way or the proper way, but the Olivia way that works for me. But every week I have like a financial plan. Like, I figure out where our money's going, what is needed, what we're saving for. Like, I'm looking weeks in advance, like, and I do that every single week. So I guess this is not that I have any specific tips for you today. Maybe a podcast I could do a bit of tipping on, but I feel like, again, I don't do everything the proper way, but it works for us. So just my thought out there for you, for my tip this week, is actually, like, do you know where your money goes every week? Maybe start there. And if you don't really know where it goes, and you're like, oh, but every week it just sort of vanishes, or I spend it, or whatever, maybe that could be a starting point and my tip of the week. It's us giving adult advice from someone who, like, no adulting. No, well, like, there's a lot of adulting, but like, anyway, I actually like numbers. Random Olivia fact is that I like numbers. I used to be, like when I was in year 10, like I was really good at maths. And so then I went and did extension maths in year 11. And then I realized I was really stupid and I had to drop to advanced maths. And then I did advanced maths for my HSC, but like was probably my worst subject. So like, there was a few errors that were made in my schooling years in my maths, but I did enjoy maths, and I initially was pretty good at it. But who likes to do maths when there's like all these random things that we're dealing with that aren't even numbers? Like, that's weird. But I actually think if I didn't do this, if I went to uni and did the whole uni path, look, I was probably going to end up being a teacher. Let's be real. That's where my life was probably heading. You never know. I might end up there yet. But I also could have become an accountant. I reckon, Matt, could you imagine me? You turn up to your accounting office and there I am. You never know. Could have been. But it won't. Okay. let's get into this week's topic now, team, which is going to be 10 fitness myths that we're going to debunk and we need to get rid of. I'm going to try and keep it a bit snappy because I know you don't want to hear me rave on forever, which is something that I'm aware of. But let's start with number one, and our situation is lifting weights makes women bulky. And I think as a whole, society is slightly coming out of this, but not everyone. And the older the generation, the more they believe this. So yeah, younger generations are definitely getting better at this. But did you know that to have any sort of shape in your body, you need to have muscle on there? So if like people idolize sort of like that hourglass figure, you know, like you've got a bit of shoulders, you've got a little bit of an upper back, you've got a nice little baby waist, some hips, some booty, and then some nice leg definition. That all happens from muscle. And how do you build muscle? You need to lift some weight. You need to do resistance training. You need to do strength training. You need to follow a plan. You need to eat enough food. So more times than not, that like toned look that people are striving for actually is formed from lifting weights and building muscle. So yeah, it won't make you bulky. And like women only have so much testosterone in their body, which restricts them in building so much muscle mass. And muscle mass is really hard to build. Like you need a lot of stimulus into your muscles. You need a lot of food, and you need a lot of time. So like it just doesn't happen overnight. Some people it's easier than others to build muscle, and some areas will build easier than others as well. But all in all, like if you're becoming really, really bulky, quote unquote bulky, it may be because of a specific like sport you do or something along the lines. Who the hell's trying to call me? Or something along the lines of that. But and then because it's so specific, like a gymnast, let's say, gymnasts end up sometimes having like quite muscly upper bodies, and it's because of their gymnastic sport, right? And if they stopped doing gymnastics and stopped being so specific on drilling the same muscles for years and years on end, then maybe they would lose some of that muscle definition. But yeah, you ain't building muscle that quick, and you'll know when you've got enough muscle on you, you'll know you'll be able to maintain that. You won't need to keep, eating to fuel more muscle growth. Number 2, you need to sweat for the workout to count. No, guys, you don't need to sweat for the workout to count. Sweating is not the only indicator of a good workout. In fact, sometimes if you have adequate enough rest break in a strength training session, you may not sweat very much at all. Sweating is just your body trying to control its temperature. So depending on, like if you're training in an aircon gym, maybe you won't get hot enough to, and if you're having enough rest breaks, you may be not going to sweat as much. But also, like if you're doing cardio workout, maybe you're going to sweat more. Some people sweat more than others. You might have more salt in your body. Could be anything. So no, sweating doesn't mean jack shit. You must train every day to see progress. Something that so many people believe, and we've all been there. I was there. Everyone was there. That was the belief. But you need to have adequate enough rest between your training sessions in order to be able to put enough into your sessions. Because if you're coming into your next workout not fully recovered, you're not going to be able to give everything that you have. Therefore, not get as much results. Therefore, we're going to probably end up being annoyed that we're training so hard and not getting results. And then our motivation dips and we give up and we never go to the gym again. You see? So we need to make sure that we're having enough adequate rest. Plus, our body actually repairs, rebuilds, and comes back to quote unquote normal in that rest state. So if you're not giving your body that, it's never going to be able to rebuild or repair, and you're never going to progress to the point that you can. So you need to be having rest days. If you're training a muscle specifically, it takes approximately 48 hours or up to 48 hours for it to return back to full fuel and full energy and full glycogen in it. So that means that if you're training your legs, every single day, they're probably never going to be at 100%. So, no, you need to make sure that you're having rest days. Carbs make you gain weight. No, carbs are just food, people. Carbs are our fuel. Carbs are our energy. Overeating anything is going to make you gain weight. If you eat too much of anything or too much of everything, you will gain weight because you're having too many calories into a surplus, and maybe you're not burning or you're over your maintenance too much, whatever it is. But carbohydrates themselves are amazing for you. Like, you need them. You need them to have a good workout. You need them to restore, rest, recover. Recover was the word I was looking for. So, yeah, carbs get a really bad rap, but like if you ate too much protein, right, you could also gain weight. And if you ate too much fat, you also would gain weight. And all of our foods are made up of carbs, protein, and fats. So, yeah, carbs just unfortunately get a bad rap there, but no, carbs are not on their own in any way, shape, or form. You need them all, but we all need them in the right amount depending on your goal. Spot reducing fat works. So that means like if I'm trying to lose like belly fat, I would just do heaps of sit-ups because I would just work on that muscle and I would lose fat. No. And you know what? In the recent times, I've had a few people talk to me about this. And so I'm like, is this myth really resurfacing here at the moment? But you can't spot reduce fat. Like, that isn't possible. You can't pick an area and work it out really hard and expect it to be toned, quote unquote toned. So when we are in a deficit and our body is burning fat, your body will decide where that fat will leave from first and where it will waste from first. Eventually, it will go from everywhere, but will you have stubborn areas that hold on to more than others? Yes. For women, that's usually around your hips, usually around your lower abdomen. And that's because, unfortunately, gals, we were made on this earth to produce babies. So we hold fat around our area that would be protecting our child. Literally, like, it's crazy shit. But that's why it's a stubborn area for women and why males will hold fat in different areas. So when we are losing body fat, it just will come from anywhere. And like I said, eventually it will start to come from everywhere, some places faster than others. Now, what we can do is, let's say like we were trying to lose the tuck shot arms, like the flappy arms that everyone's like, my tuck shot arms. Like, guys, everyone's arms shake when there's muscle in there. If I flex them and try to shake them, there's only a little bit of shake, but they're going to shake. Like, brother, they're my arms. But people are like, how am I going to lose my fat right here? Well, first of all, we need to be a calorie deficit so that we just are losing fat in total. But if we worked our arms out more, we would actually fill them out with muscle. So we would never be able to lose the fat. The fat might still be there. But could we help potentially change the shape of that area by building muscle? Yep, we could. So, but spot reducing fat is just not a thing. Like, it's just not a thing. You can't do it. Next one. Women shouldn't lift heavy. So this is saying that, like, even if we were weight training, we should just sort of be doing like our 2 kilo bicep curls and just, when you've seen like, I don't think they do it as much now, but commercial gyms, like all the commercial gyms I think about when I was like a teenager in the gym, they would have a women's only area and it would have like 6 to 8 machines in a little circuit, and they'd just be all like pin loaded machines, like a press, a leg extension, like all your normal machines. But they're like, oh, all the women should go train in there and just use these 6 machines. Like we don't, yes, you could progress with the machines, but it's like, these are all the easy exercises to use. Like, you just sit on the machine, move your arms a bit. Like, no, you don't need to go out and use the big deadlift bars. Like, no. But yeah, the girls do. girls can do what boys can do. Just saying. So yeah, girls should lift heavy. It's really important that you are strong, especially when the poor gals have to also go through menopause and our bone density goes through the actual ground. You need to be strong. You need to be strong. And you might be thinking, well, Olivia, I'm in my 20s. I'm not thinking about menopause. Gals, this is where it all begins. It all begins. And some people become perimenopausal. Menopausal. Yeah, I said that right. Perimenopausal. Why does that sound weird? Like, don't want to scare you, but it can happen in your 30s. And perimenopause, why is this sounding so strange in my brain? But that can go for years and years and years. And unfortunately, you can have effects for years and years and years. But yeah, strength training, quality bone density, like you need that as a female. You even if you start on those women only circuits, you only get so much. And we all know that to build strength, to build muscle, we need to be applying progressive overload. So we need to be getting stronger. We need to be getting stronger. We need to be doing more. We need to be changing our stimulus. So yeah, the girls honestly need to be lifting heavy. Like, fucking send it, bitches. Let's go. Let's go. More is better. So longer workouts, more workouts like we were talking about before is better. No, it's always going to be better to be doing quality workouts. Time doesn't mean anything. Like, all the things in your workout matter. Like, it matters that you do a warm-up. It matters that you put enough stimulus, enough reps, enough volume into whatever muscle group you're working or exercise you're working on. It's important that you're having adequate rest breaks. All those things are important. So if that means your workout goes for an hour, that's how long your workout should go for. Maybe you have a really specific training goal at the moment. Maybe it's very sports specific, and maybe that means your program goes for an hour and a half. Maybe that's what you have to do. Maybe your workout goes for 40 minutes, and that's amazing. But it's just important that you're applying those things that I mentioned before, like we're warming up, we're having rest breaks, we're applying progressive overload. They're the things that are important. It doesn't mean that if you're doing a 2-hour workout and I'm doing a 40-minute workout, that your workout's better than mine. It just means as long as I'm doing the things that are going to get me results, that's all that matters in the end. So, yeah, it's not a flex if you're at the gym all day. Sozza people out there. You have to feel sore to have a effective workout. Now, this is going back in line with the sweating, that you need to sweat to have a good workout. These are all not true indicators of progress or good workouts. If you're sore after every single workout, it's probably a sign that you're not recovering well enough. And that's really naughty. Like, recovery is not as important as your training, but it's just under. Like, if you're not recovering well enough, we're never going to be able to hit your full potential, and you're going to be at the risk of having injury as well. So with that being said, like, if we're getting really sore after every single workout, we need to look at your nutrition, your sleep, your loads, your rest days. We need to be looking at those things a little bit closer to ensure that you're not, ensure that you are recovering properly. Being sore sometimes is fine, especially when maybe you've started a new training block, maybe if you've just come back from holidays, maybe if you've just hit a PB, or you've just had like a crazy workout, maybe you've done something a little bit different, you're going to be a little bit sore, and that's okay. But if you're really sore after every single workout, it's probably not good. And I always ask at the beginning of our workout in the gym, okay, anyone sore this morning or whatever? And I feel like sometimes people think they have to say yes, but that's not necessarily what I'm looking for. Like, I'm asking that question, which actually I should put this on our Instagram stories because this is like an interesting tidbit. But when I'm asking that question, I'm more asking if you're coming into a workout and you are still sore from training that muscle group, one, it's like a little note in my head that I'm like, okay, why? But two, that might mean that your load needs to be slightly lighter for that session. Like, that might change what your intensity needs to be for that workout. It's not a collapse that you're sore. It's not bad that you're sore, but maybe it's just data we need to know in order for you to have a quality workout for that day. And, you know, sometimes people are like, oh, like, like when we do Bulgarian split squat hops, like an exercise everyone absolutely hates, like plyometric Bulgarians in the gym. And people come in the next day and they're like, oh, my quads are cooked. And I would be like, oh, that's good, because that was a new stimulus. It was a hard exercise. We were adding in a plyometric exercise into a leg workout. Like, you should be messed up from that shit. But if we were doing that all the time, then potentially we would hope that you'd be starting to adapt to doing that and you wouldn't get as sore. So, yeah, interestingly, you don't have to be sore all the time. The scales tell the full story. So, no, the scales do not. The scales tell your body weight. Your body weight. Your body has to weigh something. Like, your body literally has to weigh something because you have skin, blood, cells, organs, water, like eyeballs. Like, you have that inside your body. So your body has to weigh something, right? That is what the scale's telling you. So the scale weight will fluctuate based on many things, based on your what's it called? Your bloody digestion. All I could think of was the word poo. So that's, I didn't really think that was necessary for the podcast, but now I've said it. So, like, you know, when you last went to the toilet, right? It will depend on that. Your hormones, how much water you've had, your stress, your sleep. Of course, it will depend on if you've gained muscle mass or you've lost body fat. It will also depend if there's any inflammation in your body, if you've been sick or had an injury, how long it's been since you worked out, because we also hold inflammation in our nervous system can be spiked when after a workout. So all these things will depend on your body weight on the scale. So that's what it's showing. Now, when we're trying to track progress in terms of body fat, we will try and always do our scale weighing at the same time, under the same stimulus. So, like, we'll try and do it first thing in the morning, after a good sleep, after you've gone to the toilet, no food, no exercise, so that we're trying to compare to the same thing every time. But even with that, there will be fluctuations, which is important why we use it as a point to collect data and not to use it as the be all and end all, I guess. So that's also important to keep in mind. But no, the scale isn't a depiction of your results. It isn't a full depiction if you've lost body fat. You know, if after a whole year, let's say, and you've been in a deficit on and off all year, you've been working really hard, you've changed lots of things in your lifestyle, yes, we would hope that the scales are representing less, because you should have lost a decent amount of body fat that will be represented on the scales. But week to week, that will, and day to day, we can't really trust it. But month to month, yeah, a little bit more, okay? And the last one I've got for us, team, is you need to do fasted cardio to burn more fat. And this used to be a really big thing. I used to be into this as well. Like, the fasted cardio used to be something that I was all for back in the day. But no, you don't. Your body isn't going to do anything different from having more food in you than no food in you. It's still going to burn calories either way. So you can do your cardio fasted or non-fasted. Some people will prefer like to do it fasted, like the idea of getting up in the morning and just smashing it out. Like, I'm talking about going for a walk or whatever, riding a bike. But no, you ain't going to lose more fat by doing it in the morning or do it in the arvo, as long as you do the cardio, if that is part of your program. And saying all these things, like, to me, a lot of these, or pretty much all of them, I'm like, I can't believe people don't know this, but it's literally part of my job that I forget that people don't know everything, and I forget that people, like, I think that the fitness world is, like, so open and everyone knows about it and knows these influencers and knows other people, but, like, it is still quite a niche location. So I guess if you're not in the fitness world, you don't know about the fitness world and you don't know these little tricks and trades. But that's why I'm here to debunk them with you all, you know? So hopefully this, maybe even just one of them sparked a little thought in your head, like, oh, that's interesting. Because that was the motto. Now, guys, I think we're nearly at the end of our podcasting for the year. Let's have a little look-see all together. to see like, or what do we have left for the year, because it is nearly going away time for Olivia. We literally have 2 podcasts left. 2 left for the year. So you don't want to miss them. We're going to be talking about a holiday tips and tricks to survive the holiday season. And then I'm going to give you guys a 2025 recap. It's been a big year for me. So we'll have to strap in for that one. Anyway, have a beautiful week. I hope that everyone is slaying the end of the year. Get your booty to the gym and live strong forever.